and welcome to week 2 of the Make Your Bed Challenge. How are you doing? How's it gone? How did you get on over the last 7 days making your bed? Is it something that you found easy? Did you manage to get up out of bed every morning and just make your bed, no dramas? Or was it something that you actually found surprisingly challenging? Or was it something that you really pushed back against and you thought, I'm not doing this? No, she can just go and jog on. I'm not going to make my bed just because she says I should. And do you know what? If that was you, please have the courage to say that that was me. And I want you to tell me why you did that. Why did you feel so indignant about me asking you to do that? You know, it's a really common thing. We ask children to make beds all the time, and so often it's something they push back against. So I totally get that that might be it. But I hope that you took something away in the understanding that it's not about me asking you to make your bed. It's about you taking control and taking pride in something that you've done. This week's lesson is called It's Your Life. And that's it really, it's your life. When I was mapping out this challenge, and when I first came into my head and I thought, what can I do to support you guys through all this uncertainty? It was what I wanted to lead with. I wanted to lead with the teaching that it's your life. And it's something that I regularly teach on to our nannies, and I feel so passionate about, to the point that I have it written on a notebook. So I will show you that in a minute. But it's really something that I wanted to get into early on, because I think it's the underpinning of everything. Whilst making your bed is a habit, which is amazing, this for me, it's your life, is the bit that is like underneath it all, and then we do the stuff on top of it. So, but I wanted to do it the other way around, because I felt that if actually you're starting this challenge, I want to start you on something that you can win on, and making your bed is an easy win. So I hope you've been smashing it, and remember, if you haven't, that's okay. Get up and go again. So go today, go back upstairs, go back to your bedroom and do it today. You can still do it. You can still feel that sense of accomplishment. You can do it. You can create a positive habit. You can create something for you to lean on through all this uncertainty. Start small, start with achievable, start by making your bed. Diving into It's Your Life, what I want to teach you today, and what I want to go through, and what I want you to take away from it, is that you are in control. That's it. It's your life and you are in control. And when I say I got that written on my notebook earlier, I genuinely do. I got this notebook put together and it says, I don't know if you can see it because of the light, there you go. Joe, it's your life and you are in control. Simple. Because it's a reminder that I am, every time I use that notebook, that I'm in control of my life. So, and why that is so important right now is, to be honest, you probably feel like you're not in control. You're sitting there looking at me going, are you joking? You're telling me that I'm in control of my life and I'm stuck at home, I'm not at school, there's a flipping global pandemic going on, Joe. Are you not aware that I'm not in control? And I'm going to tell you why you are in control. Because you can always control your reaction. Nobody else can control that. That all comes from you. And when we can control how we react and respond to things, it puts us in total control of our lives. So we cannot control what happens to us, but we can always control our reaction. And that's something that I want you to just sit with for a minute. So I'll say it again, in case you weren't listening, in case you blocked it out, in case you didn't really want to hear it. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can always control your reaction. Okay, so now I'm hammering home that you can control your reaction. We're just going to break it down a bit. So when I say you can control your reaction, you can control what you want to focus on. You can control your attitude. You can control your approach to the situation that is happening to you. So there are 3 things in there, okay? There is controlling your focus. What are you focusing on? There is controlling your attitude, and there is controlling your approach. How are you going to approach the thing that is happening to you? But through all of it, you are in control, and you have that choice. So you have that choice within you as to whether you choose to take control in a positive way or whether you choose to just let it happen to you. You're probably sitting there thinking, oh, she is freaking mental. Like, she's telling me I'm in control, and I'm still sitting here telling her there's a global pandemic outside, Joe. My school is shut, Joe. My A-levels got cancelled, Joe. Like, I don't feel very in control right now. I don't feel like I can choose my reaction because it's all screwed up. And that's okay. It's so legitimate to feel like that. It's not, how we feel is so important. Don't belittle it. Like, if that is how you feel, that is okay. We've just got to figure out how to get from that feeling that you've got there to the feeling that you are in control. And some of that is going to come from me telling you that you are in control, that it's your life and you always have a choice. But it has also got to come from within you. You've got to develop that belief that you're in control. You can choose, basically. What I'm going to say is you can choose how to spend the rest of this global pandemic. You can choose how to spend the coming months when we don't know what's going to happen. You can choose to look for opportunities. You can choose to look for joy. You can choose to be grateful. You can choose to focus on the fact that you're back at home. You can choose so many things. So many. Or you can choose to sit there in the midst of a global pandemic and go, my life's ruined. It's over. Like, what am I ever going to do? You can choose to be negative, and you can choose to resent this unprecedented thing that we're in. Either way, whatever you choose, you have chosen it. It was your choice. So don't sit there and tell me that you didn't have a choice, because you did. And you do. And you just chose whatever you chose. You chose to lean into these 12 weeks with me and learn and engage and just do the freaking challenge that I'm setting you. Or you've chosen to sit there and go, well, the world is in free fall, the economy is a nightmare, I don't have a future. Fine, but you chose that, remember? You chose that viewpoint. It's your life, you're in control, and you always have a choice. Just caveat it with, guys, okay? We're not always gonna feel like we can take on the world. We're not always gonna feel that this global pandemic isn't absolutely freaking scary and I am concerned about the economy. It is, it's all of those things, but there's a difference between our feelings and how we are focusing on something and how we choose to react to that thing. So you can feel scared, you could feel angry, you can feel frustrated, you can feel nervous, you can feel flipping terrified, you can feel all of those things. I do so much. You know, I go like this with my work and my life. You know, I have a business that I built from nothing. Great, fine. But I have a business that I'm now trying to keep going in a time of uncertainty when we don't know where the end will be. And that's really scary. I have a team, I have people to pay, I have mortgages. Well, I don't have plural mortgages, I have one mortgage, but they have mortgages. We have children that they care for. They have, you know, the 3 girls that work for me, they all have 3 children. That's 9 children that my business pays their parents, that pays their mortgage and buys their food. Okay? There are things to be scared of, but And that's okay. It's okay to have all of those feelings, all right? So don't think that that's what I'm telling you can't do. I'm not saying I need you to be all like, it's gonna be fine all of the time. Like, I'm not asking that of you. I'm asking you to choose now, to choose when you wobble, when you feel scared, to choose how you want to react. Do you want to choose to be brave? And do you want to choose to focus on the thing that you can control? So let's say you are finding your anxiety is really high because you're in a really uncertain time. And instead of choosing to focus on the uncertainty, choose to focus on the things that you can control. So focus on making your bed. You can control that. The global pandemic hasn't taken away your ability to make your bed, has it? No. So you can choose to make your bed. You know, if you are feeling really stressed about it, you can choose to be stressed. Or you could choose to lean into the thing that helps you manage your stress. So do you journal? Do you colour? Do you paint? Do you work out? Like, choose that thing to focus on when you feel stressed, right? So we have these feelings, but we can choose our response. Let's think about where we are now, where we are in terms of our lives and where we are in terms of like the bigger picture as well. So, okay, we're in the middle of this global pandemic. You've been banished from school and you're back home hanging out with your family. Your siblings are probably driving you potty. Your parents are also probably driving you potty. Don't worry, I think the feeling is probably mutual and goes both ways. My younger sister has moved back with my parents. She's 27, and I know we have numerous family friends where, you know, all the kids are back home, and it's like being on Easter holidays when we were all like 13, you know? It's hard. It's hard, guys. I get it, okay? That's where you are. But where are you now, and where do you want to go? Where do you want to be as a person at the end of this, on the other side of it? Because one thing we should always remember is that when you go into something, it means you will always come out the other side. When something starts, it must end. It's simple. It's the way life goes. Like with everything, like you can even, like on the worst and most depressing scale of it you can think of, is like when we're born, begins, and when we die, it ends. Like that's it, you know? Gone through, okay? But you can break that down, and there are these things that happen, you know, think about the world wars. They started, and then guess what? They finished. People got through them. And it's the same thing, you will get through this. You will get through this uncertainty, this turmoil and everything. But you know, you have to remember what holds you strong. You have to lean on the things that encourage positive habits, that keep you in control and that keep you on side and on track. You don't let this derail you. All right? It will derail us all at times, but it doesn't have to be the focus. So I want you to think about where you are now and where you want to be post this. Okay? And I want you to get into that future you. So if we, like none of us have any idea, do we, how long well, it is a challenge, isn't it? The challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic is going to last. But there are going to be repercussions through and through, you know, whether or not you go back to school, whether or not you go to university, whether or not you go travelling on your gap year. But if you were to break down where you wanted to be in 12 weeks' time at the end of our challenge, where would you want to be? What would you want to say to you currently from your future self? I'd want to say, you've got this. This is going to be an incredibly bumpy time, but you have the strength, you have the courage, you have the leadership to get yourself and your team through. And do you know what? The thing that that will be on the other side is more beautiful than it was before. That is what I would want to tell myself, that I have got through it, that I can do it. And it's the same for you. What do you want to tell yourself? I want to talk about our mindset and our mind. Our mind is the most powerful thing that we have. Our mind is what tells us that we can or we cannot do something. So there's that really amazing quote by Henry Ford. He says, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. What you believe, what your mindset, what your mind is telling you is what you can do. So if your mind is telling you that this is a really horrific time, that you'll never get to university, that your A-levels are screwed forever, that none of it was worth it, that is genuinely how you're going to feel. That's what you're going to believe, and that's kind of the future that you're going to play out for yourself. You can sit there and you can see good and you can think positively. So you could think, you know, I believe that I'm going to get into where I needed to be, even though I don't have this. This is what is meant to happen in my life right now. I'm not meant to be in school, so what am I meant to be learning? You can choose how you want to kind of focus on this whole thing, but that choice all comes from your mind and your mindset. And really interesting, I follow lots of people on Instagram, but I follow this mum, and she was saying on her stories that how one day she'd had a really bad day and the next day she's like, you know, today is so much better. And she goes, but what's interesting is that nothing is different. The days aren't different. We're still in this global pandemic. We're still in lockdown. We're still stuck at home with her 3 children. But she's like, but my mind is different. Today my mind is telling me that it's okay and that there is an end here and that we will get through it and it's going to be all right. But the day before, her mind was telling her that it was awful, it was horrendous, she was never going to get through and the world's practically over. Isn't that fascinating that your mind can be telling you these things? So what I want you to become aware of is, what is your mind telling you, and are you choosing those things? I have this goblin, as we refer to him, in my mind. He's not a very pleasant chap. He likes to tell me that I can't do things, that I'm not going to achieve them, that I'm a really bad person, that I'm a failure, and I have to take control of him. So I can choose to succumb to the goblin and his viewpoint, or I can choose to fight him and tell him to, for want of a better word, back off. I can tell him, get out of my head and get out of my life, or I can sit there and reinforce the belief that I'm a bad person, or I'm a terrible leader, or whatever it might be. Sometimes it really helps to visualize, if that's you and if that's how you're struggling with these battles, visualize what that looks like. So for me, it's a little goblin. He kind of sits here on my shoulder, bounces up and down. It's really annoying. I really don't like him. But it's really hard sometimes to push him away. But I'm better at it than I was before. It takes practice, like everything, it takes practice. But it leads back to that whole thing that you have a choice. You can choose how you want to respond to this. So what I want you to think about is, where do you want to be in 12 weeks' time at the end of this challenge? Where do you want to be? Who do you want to be? How are you going to look at this? You've got 12 weeks of potentially very little. Sure, your teachers might be trying to encourage you to do something, but chances of you feeling motivated to do that, low on the list. Get that motivation in. Get gone. Get doing that French homework or write that essay. Yes, I know your A-levels aren't there, but you don't know what's going to happen, so get on with it. Get trying something. They're trying to give you things to do. Get trying. Keep going. Keep trying stuff. But where do you also want to be? Like, how do you want to have used this opportunity? What do you think you will regret if you get to the end of this lockdown and you haven't done something? Or maybe in 10 years' time, you'll think back to this and you'll think, I really missed an opportunity there. So in this week's lesson, we're going to run through 3 challenges that I want you to do post-it, okay? So I'm just going to run through them now. The first one is, there are downloadables for all of this, by the way, so make sure you download them and follow those. I want you to write down your feelings towards the global pandemic, your feelings towards the situation that we're currently in. Write them all down. I want you to write down, that you're feeling angry, you're frustrated, you're mad, you're really annoyed at your younger brother. Like, write them all down. How are you all feeling? Because it's really important that we don't belittle our feelings and we don't ignore them. But we have to recognise them in order to choose well and take control of how we then respond to those feelings. So that's the first thing you're going to do. All right? It's going to be quite hard. Don't hold back. Don't censor yourself. Don't say sad when you actually mean freaking angry about something. Use as descriptive words as you can. And it's how you feel towards the global pandemic, towards this situation that you are in that you cannot control. Because then you can choose and control your reaction towards it. Remember, you are always in control of your reaction. Nobody can take that away from you. The global pandemic cannot take your ability to control your reaction away from you. Your second challenge is you are going to write a letter from your future self to your current self. So you are going to write a letter from the you that has got through this global pandemic and this uncertainty and who's got to the other side. And you're going to write it to the you now. So what would you want to hear now? What do you want your future self to say to you? What do you want? What will reassure you? So is it that you are strong enough to get through this, that there is another side, that everything is actually okay, that you still get to go to university, that you might not go on the gap year of your dreams this year, but you're going to go post-uni instead? Like, what are the things that you would want, that you are worried about, that your future self could reassure you on? Again, download it, write it out, fold it up, pop it in an envelope, and then we're going to date it for the end of the global pandemic, okay? And you're not to open it until you feel a semblance of normality has resumed. And I'm going to caveat that with at least 12 weeks. So you're not to open it before the end of this challenge. Because we don't know when the global pandemic will have eased up, I'm not going to say we have to open it then, because we may still be in a period of restrictions or lockdown or uncertainty. So it's when for you that you feel that you've reached the other side. That's when you will open it, all right? But not earlier than 12 weeks. The last thing that I want you to do is write down your I am statements. Now, I am statements are really, really powerful. I write out, I think it's 10 every single day. And I am statements are affirmations. They are the way you want to be. So I write out, I am strong, I am brave, I am courageous, I am smart, I am successful, I can do anything, I love myself, I am worthy, I am enough, and I am a leader every single day. And do you know what? Some days, particularly during this pandemic, I have written out an entire page, 2 columns worth, that say I am a leader. When we write stuff down, who remembers it from the first one, you are 5 times more likely to retain that informational belief. So if you sit down and you write down that you are strong, you are brave, you are courageous, you are beautiful, you are worthy, you are lovable, you are successful, whatever it is that you want to believe about yourself, you write them down. And you write them down as you are those things already, okay? Because right now, you might not be thinking them because you are so annoyed and worried and, you know, you're drawn into all of this bigger picture stuff, and you might not think that you have the bravery to get through this or the ability or the skills, but you do. You absolutely do. You have everything you need inside of you to get through this. You just have to find it and believe it. So I want you to write down those I am affirmations. For the next week, I want you to keep making your bed every single day. Every single day you make your bed. And remember, if you fall off the bandwagon, just get back up and go again. And I want you to write out your I am statements every single day, okay? You don't have to, you might have written out loads right now. You could condense them, that's what I did, and bring them down. But write them down, okay? Every single day. Do your letter to yourself and write down your feelings, all right? And as always, share any photos. So share photos of your I am statements using the hashtag make your bed challenge. And obviously when you share any photos of your bed, I still want to see them, keep them coming in, that it's hashtag made my bed, all right? As well as make your bed challenge. So that's what I want you to focus on this week. But my parting words are going to be, what did I say at the beginning? What will I say again? What will I probably say every single time I speak to you, see you, or meet you? You are in control. It's your life. You are in control, and you always have a choice. So whilst we cannot control what happens to us, we can always control our reaction. And remember that nobody and nothing can take away your ability to choose how to react. Nobody. You've got this. I'll see you next week.